everybody, my name is Sherry. Welcome to my stamp studio. I have, I'm kind of on a theme. I've got several themes going and they kind of intertwine, and we go and we add one here, we subtract one here. But the overall theme that I'm kind of sticking to for the next several weeks is summer. And it's a quick and easy summer because, well, today the it's not bad. I think the high is going to be like 72. I am freezing. I have the windows open and I'm absolutely freezing because, we acclimatize. And had it been the end of May and it was 72, I'd be like, oh, I gotta get outside. But here we are in the middle of June and I'm like, oh, it's freezing. I don't want to go outside. So the windows are open, but I have on, as you can see, a long sleeve shirt. I did roll them up because I feel like it's June. I don't want to have on a long sleeve shirt, but I have on fuzzy slippers and long pajama bottoms because I had shorts on and I was freezing. But in the summer, we have lots of things that we want to do. And stamping for me is always one of them. But I want to be done so I can go outside and do all the other things. And for me today, it worked out well because Mondays are my busiest work day because y'all have lots of questions over the weekend. And I have lots of things to do. So like today, I got all my thank you gifts for May ready to go. I'm working on Thoughtful Journey class. I'm going to get a couple of videos done. The next one, I've debated, I've gone back and forth. Do I do an unboxing? Part of the reason I wasn't going to do an unboxing for the online exclusives is because I put it over several orders, but the UPS man just came and I think maybe most of the stuff that I ordered, because I've unpacked some of it, so now I'm going to have to get it back out. So I haven't quite decided if I'll do that. But we leave next week, next Thursday, for a little over a week. So I'm trying to get everything done. I have in-person camp. I get together with my girlfriends. So a lot of stuff I have. And it also in all these orders that keep coming is the bundle sale. And I have new bundles that I haven't played with, that I haven't taken out of the boxes yet. Club is ready. We've got to do all the die cutting, but all of the rest of it is done. And once the die cutting is done, then we can make packets. The projects for Club are done. The Thoughtful Journey class is 80% done. So it will be out this week. Once the Thoughtful Journey class is done, I have to do my June Creativity Now bundle, and then my June is finished. So getting with it. So I started today's project and I thought I'm just going to do a bundle that seems to be popular. And since I didn't have my new bundles yet, they came as soon as I was finished with this card. I just thought, what's a popular bundle that we haven't used in camp? Club. This is one I wanted to use in Club, where I'm going to use what I love about this catalog is that all these are right here. So I can show you, I've used Layers of Beauty a lot, and I have used this one a lot, the one that we're going to use. Because all these are here. This is going to be, if you're in Club, I already told you, this is August Club. Next month, we're using an online exclusive. Thoughtful Journey, I've used a bunch because the free class is coming up. This is the one that we're getting ready to use. So I'm going to use Spotlight on Nature. It's right around the front of this. I do have... No, I don't. See, I just got the dies. I didn't get the stamp sets to go with these when they came out. I have this one. It's not mine. It's my daughter's, but she brought it to the house, so I do have that one. I could have used that one today. I don't have those. I've used this one. Okay, well, this one I'm getting, I think with this sale price, the bundle, I put it in my cart, and I'm like, oh, I must have not got the whole thing, because I think the sale price for both is like $21. So that's a bargain. I do have that one down there. Here's the one I'm using today, but I can't remember what's on this page. Oh, when I dumped my embossing powder out, I wish that had been live on camera because it came out as one giant clump. And for those of you that live in dry climates, I'm sure this doesn't happen. My pages are stuck together because it is a bit muggy. I have tune-in dies. I love this TV. That's downstairs. Maybe I got the butterflies. I can't remember. Some of these I was a little iffy because I also have all the new exclusives and I have no days left to play with this stuff. But I'm going to use the Spotlight on Nature. So they're not available right now, but they're due back in anytime soon. There's a couple of them that are coming back real soon. I didn't get either of those. This is back in stock. For those of you that tried to get it at the very beginning of the month, it's back in stock. So I didn't want you to miss that. The The one I used a bunch, I didn't even look at it, the one at the beginning. Wildflower Design. I think it might be back. I checked this morning and now I can't remember. There's so many things that I'm always checking. So Spotlight on Nature, I'm not actually using the dies on today's card, but you don't have to use the dies to buy the dies. So I've used them a couple of times. Here it is on this card. So you can go watch this tutorial if you missed it, because the dies are the circles. So I've used the circles on lots of other cards. And here is one time that I started to put it on a card, and I made this, and it's beautiful, but I never finished it. So it is the stamp I'm using today with the dies that come in this set, but I'm not using them. I want to move my catalog. So quick and easy cards, right? That's what we're doing because it's summertime. So what's quicker and easier than starting with some of Stampin' Up's pre-printed cards and envelopes? So these are super fun. I'm not actually using this set of cards and envelopes. There's two different ones. So, you know, if you look at the catalog, the way they've arranged it now, if you're new to stamping, they've got this super easy stuff at the beginning. Well, if you're brand new, get a kit, because then it's got adhesive blocks, everything in there. But if you've done kits and you're kind of, you know, a little bit what you're doing, then move to this next step. And the cards and envelopes come pre-printed, and then you can get the pop-outs. And either you can still just get the words popped out, or you can just add some words here. So this one is the Sunny Springs cards and envelopes. There's only one of each. So I've already used the one design. So we'll have to pick a different one for this one. Here's the one I just showed you. This is my favorite, but it doesn't work for today's card. And then here's the envelopes. So this one goes with the card that I've already done. So you don't even have to decorate them, but they're really pretty. So it would be fancy. Look at, that's just beautiful. I could take a whole packet of that. So this is the one I'm going to use for this. So quick and easy. Again, I'm not using the dies because if you're in a hurry, you ain't got time for that. But don't you worry, this is going to be, so I started stamping a zillion years ago. Not a zillion, because it was just before I got pregnant with my daughter, and she is not a zillion years old, thankfully. So it was in 1993. She was born in 94. And we lived in Australia, and I just assumed they had stuff there. There was not I talked to anybody that stamped in the late 80s, early 90s. There was not a lot of stuff. Stampin' Up started about that time. So there was stuff, not a lot of stuff. Everything I owned fit in a shoebox. And sometimes when I say that to my husband now, he says, well, if the shoebox was our house, because literally there is stuff except for our bedroom today, because we're cutting for club. And I have stuff ready to mail. It's in every room of our house except for our bedroom. So pretty much that's how much it is, but it's because I do this. Can't keep talking. But back then it all fit in a box. So I did this technique back then because you could, and it's fabulous. And it makes your cards look like people are like, how did you do that? So we're going to do that. It's quick, it's easy, but it's fabulous. So I'm going to use, well, I didn't do this part of the technique because I only had a black ink pad. And when Stampin' Up! First came out, I worked with Stampin' Up! For a while before we had our 48 colors. And they came out with 48 colors, maybe 2 or 3 years after I started. And here's my thought. Why in the world would you need 48 colors? That's what I thought. For true. They gave us a coupon, and you could get all the 48 colors for whatever % off. It was a generous % off because at that point we had been using somebody else's colors. And I'm stamping the leaves in Old Olive. And I thought I don't need all those colors. So I picked one blue, one red, one yellow. But to that point I'd had one red watercolor pencil and one green watercolor pencil. And that's what I'd been working with. So the thought that I would need 48 colors, let alone 48 colors and 10 in colors every year and some basics, was just, I couldn't even imagine such a thing. So I didn't do this part. I did I'll tell you when we get to the part that I used to do, and you'll know because it's fabulous. Everything I did was heat embossing because that's what I had the stuff for, but I did not have a heat tool because those did not exist. So this is Lemon Lime Twist. I'm going to squeeze it. So if you are in Card Club, this stuff was laying on the table because this is the colors, some of the colors we're using in Card Club. I'm going to take the Wink of Stella, and I am just This one is stained red, and every time I go to paint with it, I'm like, it's gonna put red in there, but it doesn't. It just, I did it the same thing a second ago when I made the card. I just used it, so I'm just gonna fill these in. It does smear a little bit of the old olive, but that's okay. It just kind of shades it. It keeps its definition. And part of the reason it does that is because this is a nice and juicy, newer Wink of Stella. If your Wink of Stella is drier and you kind of press harder with it and smudge it around, then it may smear your old olive. But because this is wet, it smears the lemon lime twist without really needing to get into that old olive. And it makes it all nice and shimmery because, you know, we're not going to put a whole lot on this card. So every little intentional random piece we're putting on here, get this green off, otherwise now it's going to be stained green. So every piece I'm going to put on here is going to be fun and fabulous. So we have that. And then I'm going to need to take my snips and trim this out, but that's okay. That's how we did it in 1993. I had to think a second. Because it was forever, like forever before we had, at the time we had a Sizzix Big Shot. And even then people were like, why do we need that? Because we have scissors. For true, I mean, that was revolutionary when we got that, and maybe I had been a demonstrator for 15 years before we had that. So now we have our card and envelope, and I am going to take, let's go ahead and cut this part off. We are going to make our own little, I know you've seen it on in the title and on the photo, but this is how to do it because I have 30 years of practice in making these. I'm going to take my lemon lime twist because it's the lighter color. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my butterfly to make my medallion. And you know, wax seals all the rage again, as they were in the 90s. You can also do this with wax. And this just, the reason I'm stamping it is because now I know about how big I want to make my seal. So I'm going to like cut a circle, and when you do them without pre-cutting a circle, like you could die cut a circle if you want it to be perfect, but if you make a real one, they're not perfect. So I'm going to cut it, and then when I get over here, I'm going to kind of go like this. So you want to make sure your butterfly is going to fit. You want it to be a circle. Then I'm going to go like this and like this. And if you want to know what this is, to hold it, and when we're done, then I can cut that off, because if you hold it while you're embossing, it's gonna leave a big old smudgy in your thing, and we don't want a smudgy. So now you're just going to take a Versamark, and it's going to do this. We have our things to use our things, and part of some people are incredibly particular, and if it bothers you, use a lighter color. You could use beige or crumb cake or something that's not going to be as obvious in here, or you could just measure it, or you could just eyeball it. It doesn't matter as much to me, and the reason it doesn't matter is because in 1995, when I started with Stampin' Up, my daughter was little, and this was my full-time job when she was little, and she always wanted to help her mom, and we didn't have money for me to buy two of everything for her to use everything. So she used my stuff, and my stuff got well used from a 1-year-old. And it was what it was. So my stuff has never been clean ever. And so then when people started using my things, it never bothered me that my stuff looked well loved, because it has always looked well loved. I'm going to use gold. You can use any of the colors. You can use clear, and that makes it look more like a wax seal. Then you would most certainly not want to stamp a green butterfly underneath it, because you'd see it. So the first coat we're going to do is I'm going to put on here. I'm going to knock most of it off. It would all fall off if you do it too hard, because you know normally we'd hit it. Move this out of the way. Normally, when I heat set these, I fast forward it and I don't talk. Like I speed it up. I'm going to let it go at real time so you can see what's happening. You're going to heat it from the bottom. You want to do it from the bottom, because if you do it from the top and so much excess is on there, then it's going to blow away, and you don't want it to all blow away. And just hold it in one spot and you'll start to see it melt. You can see how our little tabby on the side there is super helpful. So now we have one coat. If too much time transpires between this and the next step, you can just press your Versamark on it again. I'm just going to lay it on there. You can do as many coats as you want. Like, you can use a whole bottle of embossing powder on here if you choose to. I'm going to do 2. On the other one I did 3, and I didn't, after I pressed my butterfly in it, I didn't really think it needed that many. So we'll see with 2. But the really nice thing about this is, if you mess up, all you do is reheat it and your design disappears. You can do that maybe twice. On the 3rd time, it starts to not, like, it keeps some of the lines. Okay, now it's mostly melted. So I'm gonna bring this up here and kind of move it around. You can get it bubbly. Like, I wish if we had like a kind of a Roman cross, because that kind of jewelry's in right now. I would get it all bumpy. I want this to just have a little bit of bumps because I want it to look older. Pop this off because otherwise the things will be in the way. You don't want it to cool off too much, but you have a couple of minutes. Ink up your butterfly in some Versamark and then press. You don't want to press so hard because you can still catch corners. Not as easily because they're higher than the. And then once it's had a second to cool, that was real time, I didn't fast forward anything, then you have a butterfly. Isn't that fun? So that's that part. While we have our embossing stuff out, we're gonna do a couple more things. So these are both out of the stamp set. Now my other card, remember, was probably Daffodil and Lemon Lolly. I'm going to guess are the colors. I always want to say more mustard because I loved more mustard, but we don't have that color anymore. So I'm going to go back to, let's grab this. It won't show up as well as on this card as it does on my other one. I'll grab my old olive, and this is kind of like a little crosshatch stamp. So I want it to show, but just a little bit. I'm just going to add a little bit of interest, and I'm not going to put as many on this as I did on the other one because, like I said, they're not going to show. I don't want them to dry all the way because I want a little bit of it to catch some gold embossing powder. Then there's some little dots, and I do want to emboss those in gold. And I'm just going to be random. You need to make sure that you kind of turn them different directions. These will show up better on this card than they did on my other one. I also don't remember, especially because I'm talking. I don't have any idea where I've put those. So we'll just hope for the best on this one. Pop this over here. So it depends on how long it's been and how humid it is where you live, how much of the cross hatches. See, they've stuck to a lot of them. I don't want them to have stuck to all of it, so I'm just going to give it a good whack, and that'll take it off about half. And we'll heat that. And on this one, I don't care if it's, on the other one, I got a bunch of it off. On this one, they'll show up a little bit better. So. there's the background of our card. And then one last thing, grab this is the piece I used before. I'm going to use it because there's a little bit left. There's a couple of sentiments in there. For this one, I went with Dear Friend. Ink it in the Versamark. So if you haven't bought our embossing powders before, they come in a metallic set and a basic set. So the gold's in the metallic set. And then you need a Versamark pad. And the Versamark stays wet for a really long time. So like if I use embossing powder all the time when I make Christmas cards. So you could, I'm trying to think if we did on my daughter's wedding invitations. I must have blacked it out. But you could like stamp 15 things and then go back and put the embossing powder on them and then heat them. This tray that I'm using and the tweezers, and I'll show you the brush in a second. It also has an embossing buddy, which I should have used because now there's a tiny little speck there and that bothers me. But you can brush it with the embossing buddy. That's called the Embossing Additions Toolkit. And you can get that as well. I'll put all of the things down underneath the video, or you can go to my website and everything I used will be there. I do heat from the bottom a lot. It's for two reasons. One, because I've been doing this a long time, and like I said, my stuff used to be in a shoebox, and we would lay the iron upside down in the shoebox, and then we would kind of wave our papers over the iron, and that's how we heated and melted our stuff. Then when we found out that you could go to the home improvement store, and this is, there was no Home Depot around here. There was maybe Lowe's. It was, I think at that point, it was still many more small hardware stores. But that was how we heated. So it's partly just old habit from that. But also if you miss a spot where it isn't inked as well, then the stuff doesn't blow away because the air's not. I mean, it's not, you can't use a hairdryer because a hairdryer is too much air. The brush also comes in it. So you get the tweezers, and here's you get this, the little bag, and you can dust that over the top. That's the Embossing Additions kit. Okay, I'm going to take a second. I'm going to trim this out with my snips. All right, I've trimmed those out. Now we need to take our little thing and trim off the tab. If you want to make it smaller, you always can as well, because you see you can just cut right through this. See? I don't need to make it smaller. I just wanted to show you that you can cut it. If you have a bigger piece, you can bend it, you can crackle it, and then you can rub some like darker ink over it and wipe that off, and then it shows up the crackle lines. There's lots of fun stuff you can do with it. All right, so now, like I said, I'm going to be very intentional where I put the things on here. So I looked at all the ribbons. I wasn't real sure. I thought about going with the whole gold theme, but then I didn't want it to look too fancy, right? We're going summer casual, breezy. I wanted it to be fancy, but not too fancy. If you're going to go, because it says Dear Friend, if it was going to be a wedding card, then switch all this to gold, and super easy. It could be a wedding or a shower card. It can still be a shower card. You might not want it to say Dear Friend, but I decided to go with this ribbon. It is the polka dot trim. It's from the Latte Suite, so it's available online. It's not in a catalog, but it is online. But one piece I thought was maybe on this card, this one, maybe I'll put a whole one. On the other one, it was too much because that paper's one pattern, and like it was all you saw was ribbon. On this one, the paper's a little bit busier, so let's go with a full strip. On the other one, I just trimmed it in half. Oh, I should have cut this out. I was like, where's my saying? Remember I said I come from the days when, and if you follow me, you know I often hand trim things out. It doesn't bother me. I know it's not perfectly straight. Everybody who gets my cards knows that I make them by hand. They don't expect them to be perfectly straight, because if they wanted it straight, I would have got it from Hallmark. So don't be afraid to trim your little sentiments. They're just little lines. You can make them as straight as you can. Just follow along the top of the words. And it's good. And it's going to get on here with all this stuff, and on a busy paper like this, nobody's going to notice. So we're going to let's start with our ribbon. This ribbon, the adhesive doesn't stick well to it. So let's just add it to the card right here. And we'll put it here. And then I want this to be flat, so we'll do it next. And then the other two pieces are going to be raised up. Put it here. You can already tell I'm going to like this card better. I knew I would because I like yellow, but green and oranges are my colors. So that's why I saved it to do for the video. See, you can tell I'm cold. My rings both keep falling around. And then I'm going to take dimensionals for the other two. So this one definitely needs 2 dimensionals because it's long and you don't want it to get bent. I'll add it right here. And make sure I left room for the butterfly. I did. So this is hard. Like, it's super hard. So you could get away with 1 dimensional if you wanted, but it's a long piece. I'm going to do 2. If you can do a strip and you can do the words in it, which is always kind of fun. Always a fun thing for Christmas or wedding cards. And if you do it that way, you can actually do a whole giant paper in this and just keep putting the words in it and then trim them out. And then for our embellishments, I used these. And I think there was one embellishment we didn't get to use in Try It class, and I think it was these, the adhesive back dots for days. So on the other card, I have used the yellow ones. I think it's daffodil. I think this is pool party. I thought maybe I could use 2 greens, but that's too pool party. It's got too much blue in it, so I'm going to use the green. And I just put 3 because, again, there's a lot going on. Summer breezy, nice and easy. So we'll do 3 on this one as well. Let's do... Plus, you don't really see them on this busyness. You will in person. When I post it online, nobody's going to see them. You're just going to get lost in there. Again, if you want it to be fancier, you could do gold ribbon, and these could be gold, and then all this gold would really pop. Isn't that fun? And it doesn't take long. It takes a little bit longer than some of the ones I've smucked together super quick recently. But it's a wow card. And people are always like, how did you do that? Did you make that? And especially because the wax seals are so back in vogue. If you get a wedding invitation, 90% of them right now have a wax seal on them. And my nephew wax sealed his. He sat there with a little spoon and poured all of them. Like, oh, interesting way to old school it there. But super fun. And then let's match them back up with our envelopes. So if you haven't taken a look at the cards and envelopes too, take a look at those. And I had got the cards and envelopes and all the little things that go with them to show you as part of my nice and easy summer series. And then Stampin' Up's like, oh, let's put bundles on sale. So we'll that's bundles aren't in sale in July, and what's on sale in July will work with what I've got coming up, so we can revisit those in July. So I'll have to buy more cards and envelopes if I keep using them with the bundles, but super fun. So now I have to decide, do I do an unboxing or not do an unboxing? I guess you'll find out. Have a great one. Bye.